You would spend a lot of your time talking about football, and you have other loves. Do you still love footy? What do you love about footy this far in?
Oh, yes. I love everything about it. I find it entrancing. So the spectacle of the game, there's really no other sport like it, I don't think. Its peculiarities, its unique aspects, the fact that you could get the most dire game, but you could still have the mark of the year taken at any moment in time. I love that we are transfixed by it. The mood of the town is set by what's happening in football. People live the journey of their teams. Their mood is very much governed by how they're going. So there's a commonality, there's a universality to it, but there's a connection to it. And you can't manufacture that sort of connection. People are their teams in a way. You take on the persona of it, you take on the burden of it, you take on the joy of it. So yeah, I think the on-field is utterly spectacular, but this phenomenon of how it binds us together as a people that's very real for me. You don't have to confect that. You don't have to make that up. I think it's what, whenever I travel to tell people about Melbourne, if you come to Melbourne, I'll show you the best thing in the world. I'll take you to the MCG and sit you with 80,000 people, and that's as good as it gets, I reckon. Beautifully said.
And so where do you feel your role is in AFL now? Because there's genuine moments where your opinion or what you say will affect the way that things move, particularly goal review systems. And
I'm not having much success there, if we're really honest.
You are the lead advocate, I would say, for change. Do you feel when you have an opinion or something to say that you are affecting in any way, or are you purely looking? Or
I think you observe and you document and you debate, and then whether you influence or not is a bit more organic, and I don't think you can really insert yourself into that. And I don't think it's really appropriate too. But you can certainly construct an informed debate. So have as much information as you can and have it accurate, and then disseminate and interpret from there. So I think we're so lucky with the whole spectrum of footy. We've got everything. We've got the shouters. We've got the hot takers, which is such the modern phenomenon. And then right through, we have just an incredible body of former players and coaches to explain the game to us. And then because it matters so much, so the laws of the game matters. What the tribunal does every week matters. The scoring in the game matters. Is these things, whether it's you hold it to a level of account or insist on a standard or whatever that is, there's a place for that debate too. So that's probably where I am. And I don't know whether you should never fear any sort of discussion about it. You shouldn't fear the hot gospeling, and you shouldn't fear the deep dive analysis or intellectual side of it. All of it enriches how we follow the sport, and then you can gravitate to what you like.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, so the premise of 360 is to find two people who have nothing in common in life other than football and stage a nightly conversation where you'll be able to connect with one or the other. And I think we would say, I've got my people and Robbo's got his people, and his people roll their eyes at me, and my people roll their eyes at him. And when I want to talk about the goal review, I get 1 minute and 11 seconds and I'm on the clock. And Robbo can be as verbose as he likes about whatever topics have his passion.
And you can find middle ground.
Yeah, and that's if you truly believe that your entree into any conversation in my hometown is footy, then that's the nightly staging of it. This is your way into the conversation around footy through one or the other.
I've heard it said a few times now with social media and platforms like Twitter or X or Instagram, where if your political views or your religious views or whatever are put, they're the first instance you meet someone, and that's the first discussion you had. Whereas if you meet someone at the park or if you meet someone in the shops or at the workplace, that discussion is maybe never brought up, or it's the 12th thing, first being, what are you having? What isn't it a nice day? And it's such a good point. It's what I do like about 360. It's a daily, just nice chat. I'm curious to know, you seem to have a really, really good knack for saying the right thing at the right time. And I've been doing this stupid show for 12 months now, and there's so many moments in footy where I'm just kind of compelled to go further and then on the drive home go, I regret saying that, or I've gone too far, or I don't actually think that, or there's been moments in the last 15 years, I think, in football where I've often gone, what's Gerard going to say about this? And that will be my opinion, whether it's on Offsiders or 360 or here. How do you, is it just your nature to have a pretty balanced approach, or do you have a mantra in your head or anything else?
It's probably a mixture of everything. So as you go along, you understand how you come at issues and what you believe in. So you get better at seeing something and trusting your instincts. These are the things I believe in. That's what that looks like, and I'm prepared to say it. And, you know, there is a bit of a, so say what you mean, so have your words right, and then mean what you say. Don't confect stuff. So that's what I work on. And then in the moments, you either do or you don't. And the ones where you don't, they'll torture you sometimes. It's, every now and then you'll get to a game and 3 days later you'll go, oh, that's what I should have said. That's 3 days too late. But the beauty of the challenge and what makes it so invigorating is if you can reach for the right words at the right time, it's just incredibly satisfying.
Yes.
And so the two different, when you're calling a game, I think fundamentally you've got two responsibilities. One is to convey the action, particularly on radio, to those who aren't seen it, and to share it with them, to envelop them in it, and to get them to feel what you're seeing. And the second is to do justice to what's happening on the field, because you are in the hands of the athletes and the footballers. So, and if you can do that well and help the moment soar, then that's the most satisfying part of it. And then with issues, it's having a strong enough sense to have the flinch reaction. So sometimes it takes a couple of hours to get to your stance on something. You let it percolate. But sometimes you've got to hit it, and then you have to trust your instincts that if you're waiting on what I will think, I reckon you'll go this way because this is how he views it. So, and that's what I mean is if you gravitate towards my way of thinking, that's great. But there's plenty of others that you might align with, and it's a bit like movie reviewing. Is find the guy or girl who sees movies the way that you like them and go with them. And there's this whole spectrum of other stuff. But find the one that talks to you and cling to that as your starting point.
I love that.